jump right into it, man. This is another episode of the Sportsmen. We got Mikey V over there. We got Joey D down there. I'm the big ticket, and we're running it back again, man. Sorry I missed last week. Things happen. Life happens. Glad the boys were there to pick me up. But let's just jump right into it, man. We got NBA playoffs going full swing right now, man. A lot's going on with Jokic, Sixers, Celtics, Lakers. We got a lot going on, man. Joey D, break me down. What are you saying?
I think on the Western side, it's really interesting because I think, last week I actually said I thought that the Lakers would go through the West, which, I think is still it's a big statement. It's kind of like, that not the outlier pick, but I do believe that the Lakers, when Anthony Davis is playing the way he's playing on both ends of the floor, they're a force, man, and they have role players and they look good. They beat the Warriors by 30 last game. They're up 2-1. They win tonight. I'll tell you what, they have a commanding lead. Now, the Nuggets series looked like it was going to be a runaway. And I said to Mikey V, I said, I did believe Phoenix was going to come back. And I think those two teams are going to beat each other up. And I think the Lakers are just going to stumble upon the winner of that series and, be all the better for it. But it's been fun. It's cool to see some of these games. Like last night watching Phoenix and Denver go at it, it was just like blow for blow. I mean, Booker in the last two games shot 80%. He went off last night. I think he had like 36 points. And then to watch Jokic put up 53 in a loss. I mean, it's exciting. I'm enjoying the playoffs a lot. I don't watch a ton of NBA during the season, but the NBA finals, the stars start to come out to play, and it makes it really fun.
Mikey V?
Yeah, we and Joe talked about it last week. We said who we thought would make it to the finals. I know Golden State's down 2-1, and the Lakers are playing well. Each team had a blowout win, and then there was a close game. To me, that's the most intriguing series right now. The Knicks, though, I think the Knicks will steal one tonight against the Heat.
Really?
I think the Knicks will bounce back.
Wow.
I do. And I think the Warriors are still going to end up competing in that series. And I'll stick with them. I picked them to go win the whole thing last week. So I'm going to just stick with the Warriors. And then, Jokic, they said it on local sports radio this morning. Like if we were able to watch him more, like you guys probably watch him a lot more than I do, because he's a West Coast team. If we were privy to watch him more on the East Coast, I think we'd appreciate more how dominant he is, because nobody really around here talks about him too much. Like even he wins MVP, like just basketball fans around this area, I just feel like don't talk about him as much. I think it's because, where he plays. And I just think if we were privy to see him more, we'd talk about him more. I still like Denver there. And then the Celtics and the Sixers, I mean, that's very interesting. And Harden, I've seen Harden do this. I saw him do it with the Nets. When he is on and he plays and he really tries and he busts his ass, he's a very, very difficult player to contain. He could be the best player on the floor, even with Embiid.
Easily.
He's a stud. He's a stud. So I think all the series have been good. I think everything has been there's a lot of parity, which is good because NBA is always usually so predictable, and it had been for so many years. And now I really feel like it's really anybody's game still right now. So these are pivotal games now. The next couple, like 3 days, we'll see a lot of changes and we'll see a lot of swings. But I think it's anybody's. It's been good so far.
Tick, do you like the Sixers, like moving forward? Do you think they're going to get through Boston?
Well, I was texting you a little bit earlier today about that, man. I think we've got the league MVP on our team. It's Embiid. We've got a lot of good players. Maxi's a good young player. Tobias Harris needs to pick it up, but he is a good player. He's on a huge contract. But this team goes as James Harden goes. Game 1, he was fantastic. We won that game. Game 2 and 3, He shot something like 15%, 20%. He was atrocious. We lose both those games. He comes back in game 4 last night, plays out of his mind, bonkers, and we win with his 3 at the end of that game. I mean, this team has gone since he's gotten there as he goes. And I just need to see some consistency out of him, man. I mean, hopefully we can get a couple huge games out of Embiid when Harden's not there and we can steal a few. But this is a tough-nosed brutal Celtics team, and we cannot afford to take a night off. We just can't. James Harden cannot afford to take a night off.
Yeah,
and I don't see us getting past them without James Harden putting up 40, 45 points.
You know what I think part of the problem is, Ticket, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think sometimes James Harden's reluctant to take over as a scorer, and he tries to be more of a facilitator at times.
Which
and
is fantastic. He's still fantastic at doing that. He can pass the ball with the best.
Yeah, but he needs to be a scorer in this series. He needs to do what he did last night, what he did in game one, which in game one he had no choice because they had no Embiid, so he took over. And I think what we're seeing is the games where he asserts himself as a shooter and he really attacks first and foremost and then looks to facilitate secondly. They're playing better when he does that. And I don't know why, for whatever reason, last night Embiid looked like in the dying embers of the game, like he didn't want the ball. So it was nice to see Harden step up. But I think, to your point, I think he needs to continue to shoot. He needs to be aggressive and dominant. And I think if he continues to do that, then yeah, you guys have a good chance. But Boston, man, they have some tough defensive players. You look at Marcus Smart, you look at Williams, you look at Al Horford, rejuvenated. I mean, Ticket, imagine you guys used to have Al Horford and you had Jimmy Butler. I mean, wow. Oh, my God.
Al Horford is scum of the earth, man. He is a piece of garbage. He used to be on the Atlanta Hawks, and they would torch us every year with him and Joe Johnson. They would torch us in the playoffs. Then he went to Boston and torched us with Boston every single year. Always beat us, was a thorn in our side. Came to our team for 1 year, played like absolute dog shit. Not even okay. Couldn't even get 10 boards a game. He was getting like 6 boards, 6 points a game. He was horrible. We thought his career was over. Shipped him back up to Boston. This guy's playing out of his mind. He's a Sixers killer, man. Always has been, always will be. Fuck that guy. Seriously. But going back to the playoffs as a whole, I mean, this is one of the better ones I've seen in a while, man. There's a lot more parity than I've ever seen. And I think a big part of that, a lot of what you guys were touching on, is the Warriors have been brought down to planet Earth, man. I mean, they struggled a little bit with the Kings. That was a great series. Now they're struggling a little bit in this series. And I think just there's a lot of good teams evenly matched playing against each other. I mean, any series you're watching right now, whether it's the Lakers, whether it's and the Suns, whether it's the Warriors, the Celtics, whatever it is, the Knicks, they're all good. They're all fantastic games to watch right now. Basketball is at its peak right now. It's going well.
Last week, Mikey V and I gave our picks for the West and the East. I think it's only fitting you give us the team you like coming out of the West and then the team you like coming out of the East. And I know obviously there's a little bit of bias there, but trying to be as objective as possible.
Yeah.
Who do you like coming out of the East? Who do you like coming out of the West? And who do you like to win it all?
Out of the West, man, I think it's the Lakers' year, man. They are playing unbelievable and team basketball. This is some of the best chemistry I've seen LeBron have outside of maybe some of those Miami Heat years. I mean, they are really distributing that ball. That Austin Reeves kid is one of the most fun players to watch in the league right now. So I'm going to pick the Lakers in the West. Yeah, yep. And then in the East, I mean, when I'm being objective, I just bash my Sixers. I have no faith in them. So for me to be objective, again, I'm not going to pick them. I'm going to pick the Celtics to come out of this series. I think James Harden has another great game and another couple weak games. I think we lose 2 more. I think they move on. I think they handle either the Knicks or the Heat, whoever comes out of that one. And then to win it all, I think it's the Celtics here, man. I'm going to take the Celtics. I think they're finally going to get it done.
Wow, you did the same picks as me.
That's what you did? Yeah. I think it's going to be a classic LA, Boston.
I really hope Boston don't fucking win, man. I really do.
I would say, though, like a Boston Lakers final.
Yeah, I'm not saying
that would be great.
That'd be great, but at that point, I'd have to root for the Lakers. And I don't want to root for the Lakers.
Are you a Knicks guy?
Yeah, I mean, I'll root for the Knicks because they're the local team in it. But I grew up a Nets fan. I was a Kenyon Martin, Jason Kidd.
Oh, that's right.
Keith Van Horn, Kerry Kittles, Jason Williams before that. Like those were the teams I kind of grew up with. They were literally, 5 minutes from my house where I lived when they played at the Meadowlands right by Giant Stadium. So I would go to games all the time. Like that was my team. But I just don't want a Boston team to win again, bro.
To me, the Knicks look like the worst team left in the playoffs right now. Like they look
bad game. I do think they win tonight.
They don't have an offensive juggernaut. Like Randall one night looks unreal, and the next night he looks terrible. Yeah. And Brunson is not like I love Jalen Brunson. Don't get me wrong, but like he doesn't like assert himself enough. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you look at the Heat, Jimmy Butler is like their guy, but then they have secondary scoring. You look at the Celtics, they got Tatum. You look at the Heat, the Warriors, they got Curry, and then the Lakers, they got AD, and then LeBron can step up too. I just don't see the Knicks. I think if the Knicks got a guy like Mitchell,
the Knicks don't have a bona fide superstar player like a Curry or a LeBron. I mean, but they've been trying to land one. I mean, they brought in Brunson. I think RJ Barrett's he's got to make shots. He's got to get to the free throw line. He's got to slash. They need things to go. They need to play the way that they play basketball tonight against the Heat. I really think they'll win tonight. I really do. I think they're going to beat them outright.
+3. I took them +3.
I took them money line.
I think they got a good shot at stealing one.
Feel good, Mike.
I really like them tonight, and we'll see. But I root for the Knicks ticket, and it's just Boston fans are just so, and we have a couple of friends who are Boston fans, and he actually our one friend Teddy. I mean, he's great. He's great. He's not like a typical, but some of these Boston fans are just so obnoxious.
Yeah, they're insufferable.
Yeah, Teddy's the real one, by the way. To come to the Audi Club with all the Yankees,
I mean that's what I mean.
And still
he's
partake.
Totally cool about it. Yeah.
And by the way, Teddy's a big supporter of the Sportsmen. He listens to
Teddy's the real one, dog. Teddy's a real one, man. He's a great guy. Now, Mikey, do you feel the same way about Philly teams, or is this still part of the Yankee Red Sox, New York, Boston thing?
There's only three teams I really hate in the world. It's the Red Sox, the Packers, and the Michigan Wolverines. But the Michigan Wolverines on that list are at the top, and there's a significant drop off to theRed Sox, and then Green Bay is like the least hated of the three. I hate the Packers the least of all three. But Michigan is by far and away the worst. The worst.
If you could blow up the Michigan Wolverines team and they never play football again, would you do it?
No, Joe, because I would go to prison for the rest of my life. So no, I would not. I would not. However, I listen. There's no game on planet Earth that I look forward to more than that game every year. The Ohio State Michigan game is my favorite sporting event of the entire year. I look forward to it every year. It's just that the short-term memories of these Michigan fans, the shit talking now because they won 2 in a row, it's almost as if they dismissed the fact that for the 2 decades prior, they were literally owned, and they were never beating Ohio State consistently unless you want to go back to like the World War II era. So, I mean, Michigan fans live in the past a lot, and I feel sorry for them. But Boston fans, listen, Celtics, Lakers, I got Celtics. I picked the Warriors. I'm going to stick with the Warriors, even though it doesn't look good right now. It doesn't look good, but then again, the Kings, they had some trouble and they finished them off. They came back. You just need Curry. Curry goes nuclear, and he starts doing crazy shit. They could beat anybody. They beat anybody.
Yeah. They got to hit their threes, man, because the bottom line is they don't have somebody who can stop Davis. And like down low, they don't, Kevon Looney's their best player. I guess their only real true center. I mean, they have that Jermichael Green guy who they put in one game and he got hot from outside, but they need to hit their threes to win games. That's their game plan, which they're unreal at, but it'll be interesting. It's been fun. It's been really fun watching the NBA so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a good series. Like I said, it's been awesome head to toe, man. Tits to toes. It's been fantastic. Moving on here, we've got little news coming out of the NFL, or actually up in the booth here. We got Tom Brady. News has been swirling around that he may or may not be backing out of his $300+ million deal. He's came out the other day, used the Trump classic, saying fake news. Any stock into it? Do you care? Do you even want to see him?
Don't care.
Are we still talking about this guy?
Yeah, don't care.
And
I know Joe hates Brady, right? Because I'm going to tell you exactly why Joe hates Brady. Because Brady is everything that he ever wanted Aaron Rodgers to be in terms of postseason success. That's what Joe has always wanted, right? That's why, and that's fair, Joe. Now, I don't love Brady personally as like an off the field. I think things got very weird somewhere in the middle of his career. he became like a movie star, and he kind of really became this like weird guy who doesn't eat tomatoes or nightshade vegetables, and like that's weird, man. Like you're that wasn't you at all, and you became like this weird fucking guy. But that's a Michigan Wolverine for you. That's what you'll get from a Michigan Wolverine. But that being said, I would not put any stock in this. He's going to go to the booth. He's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars just to show up and look pretty. And God bless him. Good for him. He built an empire. His entire brand. I mean, this guy is as successful gets. But I don't put stock in any. I mean, he's flip-flopped on things in the past with the retirement and coming out of retirement, but I don't think he'll turn down that money. I don't think there's any chance he comes back and plays.
Why would he not fulfill his role?
I guess that there was rumors swirling a couple of weeks ago that he was going to go fucking play for the Dolphins. Like it's just
he denied that immediately. He was not. He's never going to do
give
that.
Me a break.
Yeah. I mean, this is what happens between the months of really March and June. Really, the draft kind of slows it down a little bit, thank God. But between March and June, the bullshit stories swirling around the NFL because they have nothing to talk about. Now, once the draft happens, now the draft is over. Now the schedule drops this week on Thursday night, and it'll finally be like you'll actually get real stories of like rookie mini camp and who's reporting, who's not reporting. So all of that will finally be behind us, like this story should be. It should be behind us because it's bullshit.
I'll tell you what, Mikey V, September seems a lifetime away, man.
It sure
does, keep it that way. I need this summer bad. Keep September right. Because
I know, but
I think the same thing, but then I know what's going to happen. I'm going to fucking blink my eye. It's going to be fucking the dog days
Mikey,
of August, and the summer's going to be over again.
The first 2 weeks of NFL football is the most glorious. It's the most glorious Sunday.
I don't know. You haven't seen Mikey V. Have you seen those pictures of Mikey V on the beach, man? The summertime Mikey V, where he's got the flags up, he's got the tents up.
Yeah. Well, that's 1 week. That's 1 week. That's a prime week. There's no doubt. But the best. I listen. There is nothing. There's nothing like week one. But
week one.
It's not just the NFL though. It's college. I mean, college kicking off. There's always a couple good prime time college games the first weekend. There's always like a crazy out of conference matchup. Usually, like last year it was Ohio State, Notre Dame. It's been, the Penn State, Alabama's happened. Games like LSU, Florida State last year was a crazy fucking game. That overtime. Yeah. That was Florida State, right? The overtime game.
Yeah.
In LSU. Yeah. That was, college in combination with pros, because you haven't had a taste of it. It feels like
Florida State won that game, I think, right?
Yeah, in overtime.
Yeah.
LSU. I think LSU went for 2 and didn't get it. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
I will say this year, to your point, Mikey, I watched more college football this past year than I ever have,
and it is so good.
It's so fun to watch because it's just like. I will say this: it's hard to fucking bet. It's really hard.
Very hard to bet. Yeah. You got to go with prop bets, and you got to be careful. The spreads are too fucking crazy in college.
It's nuts. But it's fun, and it kind of bridges the gap. But ticket, you, me, and Bob, how many unreal week 1, week 2,
man,
like first few weeks of NFL, man. And there's no buys. It's a clean slate. Everyone's coming out.
There's action everywhere.
The first red zone countdown. It's just special, man.
You fire in that food order around third quarter.
Yeah, you get
after the first half of those morning games
coming in.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do because I think this week here the first NFL Sunday falls on 9/11. I could be wrong. I think it falls on 9/11. And I think they're going to do the Jets against the Giants in prime time for that 9/11 game. That game, if that's what happens, you will see nearly every non-Super Bowl TV rating record broken for that game if they do that, with Aaron Rodgers making his Jet debut in New York in the same stadium as the Giants playing on 9/11. That game will break and shatter TV rating records. The NFL knows what they're doing, bro. They know exactly what they're doing because the schedule was not supposed to come out a couple days ago, and then they said it may get delayed, but it's supposed to drop Thursday, so we'll see. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, to put a button on that topic, basically, fuck Tom Brady. Don't give a shit whether he comes, whether he goes. It's a bullshit story. Moving on. On to Messi. These Saudi leagues are popping up everywhere. He's getting something like $400 million per year offered to come play there. You boys know a lot more about soccer than I do. I know he's the best in the world,
I hope
but
he
that's
turns
just
it down.
stupid
This
money.
is fucking ridiculous.
Wow.
Listen.
It's ridiculous. I mean, like
wow.
$400 million. You know how many people you could feed? You could feed a country for $400 million. It's outrageous.
I'm sure he's going to donate a lot of that money. He's had tax troubles in the past.
Are you sure?
I think he'll donate a good amount of it. I mean, I think he's like, I don't know. I would imagine he definitely has a lot of humanitarian guys that are that rich. They all have that because of tax write-offs and things like you.
They have like a foundation or something.
Yeah, of course, and he should. But the thing about Messi is this: look, the guy won multiple Champions Leagues in Barcelona. He won his World Cup, which got every bugaboo, everything that people put on Messi of the but on Messi being one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. That all went out the window when Argentina won the World Cup this past year. He's got nothing left to prove. He doesn't need to compete at a high level. And quite frankly, people don't want to hear it, but his career, he is not on the ascend anymore. His career is on the decline.
I'd love to see
soccer. Once you go over 30, your career, if you're an attacking player, that you're not a spring chicken when you hit 30.
I'd love to see him do what a lot of other players have done in the past, like Ibrahimovic. You've seen a lot of
the MLS.
Come to the MLS. Come to the United States.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone would love that, Joe. But no MLS team is going to pay him fucking half that.
No, but he could still get $100 or $200 million.
Yeah, I would listen. I would love to see him come play for the Red Bulls. I would love to see it, but yeah, no, I don't fault him because I just know where his career's at now. Like, he's got nothing left to prove, really. There's nothing left. I mean, I guess you could argue, I don't know, like winning what?
How do you
the CONCACAF. I mean, is that what he's got? He won the World Cup. The Barcelona was one of the greatest. That was one of the greatest runs Champions League history, how dominant Barcelona was when he was there.
I mean, but even him with PSG has been very fucking good. I mean,
and they got fucking Neymar and they got Kylian Mbappe.
My point is
juggernaut.
My point is, you just look at this from a personal level.
Oh, I would love the job.
How do you turn down almost $500 million a year?
You can't.
I don't know. That's generational wealth for your future family.
But you want him to. You started it by saying that you hope that he does.
Listen. I don't.
I think he wants him to, but he realizes there's no chance. He gets
that's what I'm saying. But I actually think that Messi is a stand-up guy. I really do. From start to finish, he's a class act. Now, the way that I view Ronaldo is way different than the way I view Messi.
Yeah, a lot of people like Messi more than Ronaldo, though.
It's hard not to. Messi seems like a team-first guy. He's not about himself. He's the polar opposite of Ronaldo. But, at the end of the day, I would like him to turn it down. But I just don't know how you turn down that kind of money.
I got to tell you.
Even at his level now, he's going to be better than 90% of the players he's playing with. So he's still going to stand out.
In that league, yes. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So, you're going to get paid more money than you've ever had to go out and dominate still. It's hard to turn down.
People our age really should you really have to look at it. You literally witnessed people our age really who I feel bad who for people our age who weren't soccer fans, because to some degree, I'm not saying you had to be an avid diehard fan, but the fact of the matter is our generation just witnessed Larry Bird, Michael Jordan. Our generation just witnessed that caliber of player and that level of importance of player to their sport in Ronaldo and Messi. That's the equivalent of how dominant these guys were in perspective of the history of the game of soccer.
That's how incredibly
dominant they were.
I think Mbappe could be better than both of them.
No, I don't.
Dude, look at how
I don't. I think he's excellent, Joe. I think he's excellent, but I just think Ronaldo and Messi are, to me, they're, I don't know. I want to say
Mbappe has just won. He's already won a World Cup. He just was in another finals, and he's still eligible to play in another 3 World Cups.
That France team was very good though. They were a very good team too. I mean, they had a lot of good.
How many good teams did Argentina have throughout the years?
Very good, very good teams. Very good teams. No,
you're playing with guys like Aguero, and you're playing. I mean, like you have good players like who are on your team. But all I'm saying is that I agree with you. Like, this was an unbelievable era, but Mbappe is going to carry the torch, and he is going to be like the future. He's going to be the guy for the future generation.
Ronaldo, really, if you look at it, with winning a Euro Cup with that Portugal team, I mean, Portugal probably had the weakest roster out of France, and definitely weaker than France, and definitely weaker than Argentina. Those are two powerhouses. And not to say Portugal isn't a great team. They're always the top, 20 FIFA team, but not compared to those two rosters. Those are top 5 teams consistently every year. But yeah, I mean, they were just 2 awesome players. This was a great age of soccer that once these 2 guys are done, it's going to kind of suck because they were magical players. The shit they did was just didn't make any sense.
Now, why is it though that every year, knowing that these 2 guys were the behemoths of both, of soccer for the last 2 decades or however long it's been, how come every year the top athletes paid, it's always like Cristiano Ronaldo and like Tiger? He's always up there. He makes like $300 million. Where is Messi on that list? And is this an opportunity for him to?
I think he's on the top 10 in that list.
He's top 10. I think he made like 120 million last year. I mean,
Ronaldo was the first one to sign the Saudi deal, I guess. So
And that's the real issue with this topic here, and that's more what I want to get to, is these Saudi leagues are popping up, man, and they are just tossing stupid money around. And are we just going to let him start taking?
Look at the other 2 guys who are, I think, behind Ronaldo is Phil Mickelson and Dustin Johnson. Who just got signed by Liv.
I posted that the other day. Yeah. I tell you what, I wish the Saudis would start a fucking podcast league. Fucking help me out a little bit.
The sand dune castle. He'd be pulling his his flags into the freaking desert.
Live podcasts. Let's go for it.
I tell you, that a little cool 200 mil for Mikey V per year.
Would be beautiful. Put us on the top 10 graphic next year.
Yeah, Messi should decline it, but we'll take it. You guys,
I mean, listen, Messi's already got hundreds of millions. What else does he need? Guys,
we'll donate it all to charity.
I don't even know what Messi's deal with his endorsement deals, like his deal with Adidas alone, has to be worth. I couldn't even tell you because that's a global brand. It's got to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. These guys make so much money. Forget about what the club team pays them. The endorsement deals for these guys it's just got to be insane.
They don't do a ton of ads. They don't do a ton of sponsorships, but the ones they do are so massive.
Yeah, they don't have to. They don't have to. I mean, they just go on TV commercials instead of putting it on their fucking Instagram. I mean, it's crazy. His deal's got to be insane. I'm going to look it up because I'm curious, but you guys go ahead.
Well, a lot of these guys too, they're not always in America, but if you go to Argentina, and I've seen it with a lot of other guys, you go to their country, they are on billboards for all kinds of things, selling like soccer balls or selling like hairspray or something. I mean, it's wild that you just got to go to their country, and they do actually do a lot of ads for a lot of things. But it's true. These guys make, Tiger Woods makes way more money off of sponsorship. Michael Jordan makes things out of shoes.
Adidas pays Messi $20 million a year.
That doesn't seem like
$20 million
enough.
a year. Well, his sponsorship deals with Adidas, this other company I don't know the name of, Gatorade, MasterCard, Lay's, Pepsi. Like,
wow,
his earnings from it's roughly about 50 million, $50 million a year just in that shit. I mean, just in that is $50 million.
You guys with MasterCard. What's that about?
Yeah. Accepted everywhere, MasterCard.
Yeah, it sure is, man. Except for
even in Saudi Arabia.
Yes. And in New Jersey, we should mention.
Well, let's move it on here. Let's go to the Washington Commanders. I don't really care if they did or they did not talk to Andrew Luck. My question to you guys more is, should a team even want Andrew Luck? Has he been away for too long? Not to mention the amount of concussions this guy's have had. Who cares if they did talk to him or if they didn't? Should you even want him at this point?
Yeah, I'd say no. He's been out of action since August of 19. I'll never forget the announcement. I was on vacation and I saw the graphic come up, and it was during a Florida Gator Miami Hurricane football game. We had the under. I remember I lost that bet. That's why you see these things. It's sick, isn't it? It's fucking sick.
You're a sick,
I mean, it's
individual.
sick, right? But yeah, I remember that coming out. I was just like, what the fuck? The concussions would be a concern for me. The reliability, like, what are you signing them for? Is this going to be just a 1 year? Like, because the Commanders are by no means a win now roster. So it's not like the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, which is a total opposite situation. The Jets, in my opinion, were a quarterback away from being an AFC favorite to win the AFC title. Now they have their guy. I don't think if you put Andrew Luck on the Commanders all of a sudden are even in contention to win their division. Who knows?
No.
Andrew Luck's been away from the game of football for 4 years. Defenses have gotten faster. Players have gotten, even in a span of 4 years. And he's going to be so far behind the 8 ball. I don't know if there's any validity to it. The Colts still own his rights. So anybody that speaks to him or any of his associates in regards to him playing for NFL franchise would technically be guilty of tampering. So I don't even know, like, to the extent of how valid this all is. But I wouldn't want Andrew Luck at this point. I just wouldn't. I guess if you're desperate.
Talk about a guy who could use some Saudi money. Andrew Luck.
Yeah. That was just a bizarre disappearance act. One of the weirdest things.
With Andrew Luck?
It was so bizarre.
Yeah. It was so out of nowhere, it felt like. And like just a guy whose career was starting to really blossom, and it was just so unexpected. And this guy, he's a different type of guy, Stanford guy, obviously very smart, but a little quirky and off, like definitely a weird guy, it seems.
He was a weird guy. His dad was the athletic director at West Virginia while I was there, and he might even still be there. And we just heard a lot of stories up and down that campus, man. And he was a weird, quirky guy. But like you said, Mikey V, his career was starting to head in the right direction, at least as far as his play. But he did get a lot of concussions. He probably saw the way a lot of these guys went. Like you said, he's a learned man, went to Stanford. I think he just wanted to protect himself. But it was bizarre the way he left when he was finally starting to put the pieces together and figure out that Colts team. It's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, I would stay away.
I'd rather have Taylor Heineke at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's been a part of the league. He knows the playbook.
The Commanders could fuck up a wet dream, though. They need to figure out the quarterback position. But they like Sam Howell, apparently. That's what they're telling you.
You know what I feel the work for? I feel so bad for Terry McLaurin because I think he's one of the top talents in the league.
Scary Terry's
and look at the guys he's got throwing the football to him. I mean, imagine if you had Aaron Rodgers throwing at Terry McLaurin.
It's always Aaron.
No, I'm sorry. Aaron's not even the best quarterback in the league. I'm just saying, like, even a guy like you put him like he is a game. He's a guy who could jump up and make a 50-50 catch over 1 or 2 guys, and he's just so good. And he seems like a guy who, he has his head screwed on straight. He's not like a prima donna.
Terry McLaurin is a very bizarre case to me. I cannot believe the success that Terry McLaurin's had in the league. He is an Ohio State Buckeye. To me, he was a good player at Ohio State. Never a guy that like jumped out at me when I watched games and was like, this guy's gonna translate so well at the next level. I don't know what it is about Terry McLaurin, but I have to tip my cap because I did not see the Terry McLaurin success coming at all. I did not. I thought he was like the 3rd best receiver on that team when he was playing over there, and I guess I was wrong.
He's been a standout with the guys he's had.
He's been awesome.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
And to Joe's point, man, if they just figure out the quarterback situation, they've got a lot of good pieces. Obviously, Scary Terry, but they've also got
Curtis Samuel's a good guy.
Nice player.
Yeah.
Jahan Dotson is a nice player.
Dotson's
a Penn State guy. A lot of Big Ten guys on that team. Big Ten offense over there. Chase Young.
And then to Mikey V.
I'd love to see something happen with that.
And then to Mikey V, I mean, they try to tell you they're high on Sam Howell, but I think even just the rumors of even entertaining Andrew Luck would tell you maybe they're not so high on Sam Howell and they don't have it all figured out.
Every team right now is in the mode where you're going to hear the following quotes for the next couple weeks. Guy's in the best shape of his life. You'll hear that about 50,000 times over the next 2 months. Best shape of his life. Light years ahead of what he looked like last year. I've already started hearing it with Fields. They've been, the last 2 days has been nonstop. Fields looks like a totally different quarterback. He looks totally different. He's light years ahead. Now, in his case, obviously, I'm praying that's not just, word salad and it's not just, speak, but that's what you're going to hear. Everyone's going to be in the best shape of their life, the best they've ever looked. We're expecting so much out of them. That's what you're going to hear. And I mean, that's what coaches have to say. I mean, that's the reality of it. So they're not going to shit all over Sam Howell. They're going to try and instill some confidence in him, but we'll see what happens.
All right, boys, let's get to one more thing before we get to the viewer questions. The match, they're bringing it back. They're getting more people involved. We're getting people like Travis Kelce coming back, Patrick Mahomes, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Are you interested? Is this something that you're going to be tuning into, or is the match getting a bit played out? What do you think, Joey D?
I think it's great. Personally, playing, I was privileged enough to be able to play around caddying for Josh and have Kelce and Mahomes play with us. These guys have fun on the golf course. Kelce is one of the more electrifying guys to put on the camera. He is like Rob Gronkowski. He brings the energy. He brings the action. He's going to be someone you want to watch. He's a fun dude. Mahomes, great guy, loves golf, by the way. He's a super, super intent guy for golf. And then on the other side, I don't know much about Klay Thompson, but Curry's a great golfer, Callaway athlete. And you know what? I'll tell you what, I think that, some of the players that they were doing, it kind of was played out, the DeChambeau, Brooks thing. Like, these guys are relevant right now. They're coming off a Super Bowl victory. The Warriors are reigning champions of the NBA. They're going to draw a lot of eyes to it. I think it's good for golf. I think it's good for, just good viewing, something to bet on and have some fun with. I am not opposed at all. I think it's going to be entertaining.
Mikey?
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it, I guess. I'll watch it. I know all those guys play all the time, and I know Curry's big golfer, and Mahomes as well. I mean, I'll watch it. I mean, I wouldn't say like I'm like super excited for it or like it's like a big deal for me, at least, only because I feel like golf really doesn't need any help right now. I feel like golf is as popular as it's ever been. You see so many people new to the game, including myself, trying to get into it. You see so many big time personalities now too. Like, I didn't know DJ Khaled was like all of a sudden like everything he does now is about golf. It's just wild. Everything, and I mean, like, the game doesn't need any help. I think it'll be cool. Obviously, you see, two teammates from one team, two teammates from another team, cross sports. Both won their respective championships the past year with their teams. So I think it'll definitely be cool, but like, I'm not overly like, oh my God, it's must-watch television. But I like it. I like it. They could keep it.
I think for someone like me who's involved in that golf space, especially within social media and stuff like that, it's exciting to see these matches continue to brew because it's good for us. It's good for the sport. It's good for like just what we do and brings new people to the field that we potentially could collab with one day. So for me, maybe I have a little bit more level of excitement. I can see your point of view, just watching it as a viewer, as objectively, I get it. Like, it doesn't, and I agree with you. I think golf is as good as it ever has been, but I've never lost money on the match. I've always won. It's an easy thing.
Well, there
to
you
bet.
go.
So
that's another reason to get excited about it. There you go. Yeah, I think the novelty's worn off a bit on it. I think it was really exciting in COVID when it started going, and it was even fun for another year after that. But I don't know. I like it. It's fun. I think the best part about it is that you kind of get a sense of these guys' personalities. Like, when you do watch Patrick Mahomes, you get to see a different side of him, and him and Travis Kelce. I do like that aspect. You get to see them outside of taking the helmet off and just having some fun. They know it doesn't really matter. They're playing for charities. It's a good time. But yeah, man, I could take just that once a year pro-am in Lake Tahoe. I mean, I think that's good enough for me. But like Joe said too, I mean, it's really good for Bob Does Sports. It creates opportunities for things like you guys to get more involved and reach out to more people to collab with. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's
not for nothing, but like if you're watching that as a viewer, like if you're expecting fucking John Rahm and fucking Scotty Scheffler, I think you're watching the wrong thing. Like I would think as a casual golfer, like a casual once a week golfer, once a month golfer, the shittier they play, the more enjoyable it actually may be to watch, because it's gonna be like, oh man, I probably would have done the same thing, or oh, I can really identify with that, as opposed to some guy who's hitting fucking shots that you're like, yo, how did this guy do this?
That's the reason why Bob Does Sport exists.
Yeah, well, I you know, but it would make it even, because these guys were such great professional athletes, and maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe they wouldn't want to do it because, you know, maybe they feel a little weird. Like I could totally see Jordan being so competitive. He's so competitive about everything you've ever heard about him. Like maybe he'd be like, no, you're not fucking filming me playing golf.
And to your point, Mikey V, I agree. It seems like Mahomes and Kelsey are in everything right now. Mahomes was at the Met Gala, then he was announcing the Kentucky Derby.
Gala.
You had Travis Kelsey was like ran an episode of The Late Show. Yeah. Then he was on a Machine Gun Kelly concert, and he was just like, they're everywhere. Like these guys are just like the hottest things.
That Met Gala, I still don't understand what the Met Gala.
Speaking of that Met Gala,
I still don't get it.
Mikey V, your story where you had the side by sides. Was I could have watched 15.
I wanted it to keep going.
It was hilarious.
I mean, because it's so absurd. Outrageously absurd. The whole thing is obnoxious.
You see, Doja Cat spends 50 hours getting her makeup done to look like a cat. What are we doing here, Mikey V?
The one guy was dressed up like Roddy Piper. He looked exactly like him. Yeah, he just wore a fucking kilt. I don't know. You know what I loved? I loved seeing a guy like Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper was just dressed in a fucking black tie tuxedo. He looked sharper and better than 99% of these fucking ass clowns dressed up as the Silver Surfer and fucking and Pedro Pascal. I love Pedro Pascal, the actor. I think he is fucking phenomenal. But I mean, what is the trench coat red with the red shorts? What the fuck is that?
He's
also everywhere too, by the way. He's like Mahomes too. He's everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you that show, The Last of Us on HBO was tremendous. Oh,
that Last of Us. Let me tell you about that.
That's a good show.
You know what I've been watching lately, boys, and it's actually really good. Maybe I got on the train a little late. Is you guys watch Ted Lasso?
Yeah, I've heard it's outstandingly excellent. Yeah.
Have you watched season 3 yet, Joe? I haven't seen season 3.
No, I'm on season 2 now.
You gotta watch this show called Jury Duty. This show,
oh, it's the best.
One
of the best shows I've ever seen.
I just finished it with my wife. It was so fucking funny. This one guy, Joe, they bring him in. He thinks he's filming a documentary. They think they're filming a God bless you. They think they're filming a documentary about being called to a jury and having to sit through jury duty. They think it's a documentary. One person out of the entire jury crew, the judge, the defendant, the plaintiff, the bailiff, everyone's an actor except one fucking guy on the jury. One guy is not an actor.
That's hilarious.
And just they keep coming up with crazy shits popping up.
I get sequestered for the jury.
Yes,
maybe I'm the next contestant.
Yes, Joe, I told you about this show a couple weeks ago, man. Joe, I told you about this show a couple weeks ago. You got to check it out, man. He doesn't listen. No, he does.
By the way, I responded to the jury duty just thinking I could get out of it, and now I've been actually booked for a case.
Wow. I want to say, by the way.
You got selected?
Yeah, I got selected, and I went and disputed it. Like, I tried to, excuse myself from it.
Yeah, you better hope you don't get fucking sequestered, Joe. You get sequestered, it's over for you.
By the way, I banged myself by announcing it on the Brilliant Dumb Show. I couldn't just say I didn't get it in the mail. I had to respond.
Yeah. That's the thing. Most people know that I edit the Brilliant Dumb Show. I was editing that episode. I've received like 7 of those things. I haven't responded once or gone to any of them. They just leave me alone. Now, if I get pulled over, could I get arrested? I feel like maybe I could.
You could, yeah.
The key is just not to get pulled over.
That's the key.
But yeah. All right, boys. Let's move on to the viewer questions here. We've got a few of them. We've got the first one rolling in here by George Maris. You can only play and watch one sport for the rest of your life. What is it? That's a tricky
Does
one.
it have to be the same thing that you're playing and watching?
Yeah,
or does
the
he
one that
mean
you play
one
is the one
sport
you watch.
play and watch?
I think it's the one sport you play and watch.
I'm golf. It's not even a question.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
Because I golf for a living. I love golfing, and I to be honest, I've watched more golf in the last couple of years than I ever have before, and it's actually very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, golf's great. Mikey V, what are you thinking?
I would say football because I just can't picture a world where I wouldn't be able to watch football. So even if I couldn't play it, because obviously that's pretty much out of the question. If I could pick two, I would say because the only sport I actively play anymore now really is golf. So I would pick golf to play and football to watch. But I can't do that, so I just have to pick football and just bite the bullet because there's no chance.
If you're ticking, you just kick field goals all day, and
you just kick field goals, man.
That's fine. I mean, that's your department. That's your department. That's your wheelhouse.
Yeah, man. The best sport that I love to play because I'm so piss poor at golf is basketball.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
But I fucking hate the NBA. It's my least
No,
favorite.
You love the Sixers.
The NBA is on the bottom of the totem pole, man. Of professional sports
The NHL is
viewership.
way above it.
Sucks.
Rugby's above it. It's
rugby.
It's fucking F1's above it.
That's outrageous. You don't mean that.
It sucks. It
Joe,
sucks.
Let me be dead honest with you, Joe. I'm gonna be dead honest. These are the sports I'd rather watch than an NBA regular season game.
Oh God.
PGA Tour golf, the NFL, NCAA football, NCAA basketball, regular season baseball, NHL playoffs. Not a regular NHL game. It's probably about even for me. But I mean, literally, I'm soccer, Premier League soccer. No, I'd probably go NBA over tennis. Yeah.
Would you rather watch an NBA playoff game or a Wimbledon match like Nadal, Federer?
NBA because I just never really was into tennis. I watched it. I've watched it. Don't get me wrong, but I'd probably rather watch an NBA playoff game.
I gotta disagree with you guys. I think after NFL, I think I'd probably watch more NBA than anything else.
Oh, man.
But that's because it's on TV for you to bet.
Over college football?
NHL is close. No, college basketball is probably my second
college basketball. I love college basketball.
Because college basketball is so like strategic and like team based and like defensive oriented and like it's like the NBA. You have just one guy can just win a game.
And that's why college is like that because these guys never stay. So if they're that great, they're gone. So you have to be a good team because if you have a superstar player, he's only there for a year and he's gone to the NBA.
I feel
that's
too,
why.
NCAA basketball has some of the best coaching because
the best.
It's unprecedented. I feel like NBA coaches do very little, not to dismiss them, but like nowadays you give the ball to your number one guy and you run a pick play and you have him shoot or drop a couple things, but like these guys just go out and do their own thing. They're making so much money. With college kids, they're not making anything. So like the coaches,
they're making a little.
Well, now they are, but you know what I'm saying.
College basketball is the shit. We're just talking NBA here. That is the worst shit you can watch outside of tennis. If you ask Mikey V, outside of tennis, apparently, I would take tennis over it. I like tennis. I'm a huge tennis.
Tennis
guy.
is enjoyable to watch.
Tennis
if it's like a semifinals or finals match,
yeah, I'm a big tennis guy. All right, moving on to a fan favorite. I think we all know this guy, Andy Sire. Andy Sire writes in, does Aaron Rodgers have the most punchable face in sports? If not, who does? Who does? If not him, who does?
I could give you a few guys
Jake
who have
Paul.
a more punchable face. I'd give you Draymond Green. I'd give you Tom Brady.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
But that would say that he's in a sport, that he's a legitimate athlete. He's a legitimate athlete.
I'd give you Brad Marchand from the Bruins. Brad Marchand has a very punchable
he does have a punchable face, unfortunately. I like him, but he does. He does. He certainly does.
Big time punchable face.
I'm going to go with Nikola Jokic. I can't stand that fucking guy. I just think he's got one of those faces that he's just I can't put my finger on it, and it's nothing he does. There's nothing wrong that he says. He's just got one of those faces. It's not his fault.
By the way,
face.
Durant's got a very punchable face too.
I'll tell you who's got the
does.
most punchable
Durant
face.
does.
He's a coach, not an athlete, though. Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh, I would fucking clock him right in the face. He has the most with the glasses and the khakis and the hat.
Oh, what about when he wears the receiver gloves?
Yeah, bro, you want to talk about Bozo the Clown number one? Jim Harbaugh's Bozo
Speaking of
number one.
back-to-back years, though, Mikey.
I don't give a fuck what he did, Joe. What about the 5 times he lost? See, that's what I mean. He's 2-5 against Ohio
I know,
State.
but now he's on the top of the tower.
Oh, he's at the top of the hill. P.S. They haven't won a playoff game. He's 0-7 in bowl games. Guy stinks in bowl games.
Well, he lost his best player, his running back.
They lost to fucking TCU, who got fucking deck wiped by Georgia, who should have lost to Ohio State. Fuck them.
Mikey V, does it piss you off knowing that if Ohio State just holds on to that game, they win the whole kid?
Oh my God, they win the national title.
I think easily.
With ease in their sleep.
Yeah, I think easily.
That
bro. Listen, it was a 50-yard field goal, college field goal.
It should never come to that. They had They had a 2-touchdown.
It's true. Should not have come to that kicker.
Defense could
not have come down to the kick.
Defense could not stop a nosebleed. They got too conservative on the last drive, which I fucking hate. You don't play for the field goal there. You play to put as much pressure on them as you possibly can. If Stroud makes a mistake at that point, you just eat it because he had the game of a lifetime. He had that game.
He was phenomenal that game. He was.
I don't want to talk about it, guys. I don't want to talk about it. That was New Year's Eve. All right. Literally New Year's Eve. I'm standing. Look. I'm standing. Look where I'm pointing. You see that spot at the end of the bar? I'm literally standing there, and the ball is dropping on the TV behind me. The game is on the big television in the other corner, and I am standing there. My poor wife, and there's people over. I'm entertaining, and the ball is dropping 10. 9, and the play clock's running, and they're lining up to kick the football, and the kick goes through the uprights at the time the bell goes off for 2023. It doesn't go through the uprights. It completely misses the fucking uprights, and that's how I rung in 2023. I'll never forget that for as long as I live. I felt so bad for my wife because, obviously I was upset.
Did Holly get a New Year's kiss?
Of course she did. I mean, it wasn't the greatest kiss ever. I can tell you that. On my end, it was not good.
Missed that field goal as the tickets.
No, ticket would have
me in that moment.
I would have loved to have had you, bro.
I guarantee you 45, 55 is tougher, but I would have hit it. All right, moving on. I'll throw one more in there. I'll throw in Bartolo Colon. Moving on. We got a question from Quinn Van Gallen. Last question before we get out of here. When are we going to see Mikey Mulligan's premiere on Bob Does Sports?
Wow.
I think as a fellow terrible golfer, it would give me great comfort to see him swing him before he finds his stride.
Terrible is a strong word. I would say really bad. I'd say really bad.
Here's my take on it is we're open. We want Mikey V on it, but it's a lot of pressure first and foremost. He just started golfing. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let him at least work his way into a little bit of a routine before you throw him onto, something that's filmed and viewed by hundreds of thousands. Now, that being said, I'm terrible week in, week out. So, Mikey V, the bar is very low, which is very much in your favor. Yeah, and I said since the start that Mikey V has more athleticism than Bob and I combined, to the point where I think if he continues to focus on his golf, I think within a year or two, he'll be better than both of us.
Well, here's the thing is that the issue right now with me in golf is I get out once a week to swing my clubs, maybe. That's once a week, at least the range or getting out to play 9. But it's time right now. It's a time crunch, but the commitment has been there. I have not gone more than a week and a half without getting out and taking at least 100 hacks, 150 hacks. I'm out there. I'll do what I got to do. But yeah, you got to talk to that guy, Bob, bro, wherever Bob is. That's the guy to ask that question to, not to us peasants here.
Are you still taking the lessons? Are you still taking the lessons, Mikey V, or are you done with those and just
So I did the lessons in the beginning, and now my plan is once every month I'm going to go back and work specific. I want to go work my driver. I want to go work irons. That's kind of what my plan moving forward. So yeah, no, I mean, it's a
Mikey
process.
V, you're talking to two of the major benefactors and contributors for Bob Does Sports right here.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought Bob was the ultimate decision maker. I don't know.
Well, I
I
mean,
don't know how the
Bob
operation runs. I don't know how it runs because
I'm just saying that if we come in and we say we got to put in Mikey V on on an
I mean, if
episode,
I have to fucking come crawling to the feet of Bob to ask him to be put on Bob Does Sports, quite frankly, I don't want to be on it. To be honest,
you do not have to do that, Mikey V. You know,
I don't think that's necessary. I think that, I need to get acclimated. But here's the thing: I don't care about. Like, I went out and played my first time on a course with guys that regularly shoot in the low 80s. I mean, these guys regularly shoot in the low 80s. Some, they've broken 80 before. So, like, I was not embarrassed by any means, and they were not.
Can I ask you an honest question?
Yes.
What is your golf banter like on the course? Is it high? Is it like you still kind of feeling yourself out? But like,
I have no room to talk shit. I mean, I don't have any room to talk shit.
It's not about talking shit. It's just about bringing the sauce and like just having a persona out.
Well, Mikey
V's
got
the character.
I mean, if you came with me, you'd probably get a few laughs. I mean, because I'm really bad I'm tough on myself. But no, we break balls. Dick Egas is a guy that you really need to experience around the golf with him, because he makes these little comments and he just drops them in, and it's very funny. We did like a chip and putt thing after we finished a round one day, and he was like, well, everyone else shot the ball from over there, but if you want to shoot from here, and like little things like that. But like, obviously the way he does is a lot funnier. But no, there's banter. Of course, there's banter, but I try to really stay. I'm trying to stay as grounded as possible, because I know I have so much to learn. So I want to learn everything before I really start.
Before you start talking shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to, but I will. Listen. Then again, no one has talked shit onto me really when I've gone to play. Like, none of my friends have broken my balls. If someone did, I would immediately come back with everything in my arsenal, of course.
You know what it's like, Mikey V? It's like the first time you ever picked up a controller to play Madden, and you don't even know there's like different defenses.
I would say that this is about 50,000 times more difficult than that. It really is, Joe. There is. I tell you, I'm at the range. I'm at the range, and I'm like, listen, maybe if I widen this foot out a little, if I change this grip with my right hand and give it a little less palm, a little more fingertip, and like, then you hit a shot, and you're like, that was it. Now let me do it again, and it just does not happen that way. It just doesn't. It just does not fucking work that way.
You got to be a machine, man. You got to be a machine. You hit that one great shot. And Yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you the highlight. Go ahead, Ticket.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, bottom line is the guy's playing for love of the game. If an opportunity comes his way, but he's playing because he loves golf.
That's it.
Golf.
I will tell you right now, top 5 moment this past year in Bob Does Sports was we were in Jupiter, Florida. We were filming our Christmas episode, okay? And we had Jet and Ticket like on one of the holes play the hole like instead of us. And Ticket had a shot from the middle of the fairway with a hybrid or fairway wood. I don't know what it is. And he absolutely pured it, like to the point where it was like one of those shots, Mikey, you're talking about, where it's just like the stars just aligned. It was a perfect shot. And Ticket was feeling himself. And it was absolutely,
as you should, though,
sensational to watch. And like, that to me, it just sums up what golf is like. When you hit a shot that is so good and you're so used to being shitty, and you see that shot go up and everybody gets jacked up, I would be the first to say there are very few emotions or feelings that rival that high that you get for that 5 to 10 seconds. It is euphoric.
Yeah, it is unlike anything else.
That's what we're looking for. That's what we're hunting.
Yeah, that's what we're hunting. Day in and day out at the range there. That's what we're looking for, man.
Yep.
All right, boys. That was another good one, man. That was a lot of fun.
That was a hell of an episode.
Yeah, it was good, man. I mean, I'm sorry I missed last week, but I'm back and we're having fun. And that's another fucking edition of the Sportsmen right there, boys. That's Mikey V. That's Joey Coldcuts. I'm Big Ticket. Till next week, folks.